Hi guys. I've been doing like a weird wave thing lately. Okay.
Molly, the person who talks about things.
So today we will be talking about planning. And I kind of joked in my last video that I would talk about planning in my next video, but then I planned it and now it's happening. It's crazy, isn't it? How you can just like do whatever. You can decide that it's going to be a thing and then it's going to be a thing. So this video is a thing now, as much of a thing as it could be. So right now I'm planning a wedding, and a lot of articles online tell you how to do that, and a lot of people tell you what you should do, and there's a lot of input when it comes to planning this big extravagant party. And I feel like a lot of FE users especially come across, if they're planning their wedding, trying to people please and make sure that everyone's happy, which is impossible to make everyone happy. And so people always tell you, it's your day. It's your day. I mean, I would do this, but it's your day. I found that FE, a lot of times, extroverted feeling, by the way, is what I'm talking about, function in predominantly seen in ESFJs, ENFJs, ISFJs, and INFJs. Extroverted feeling almost wants everyone's input in a way because they want to please everyone. So they want to know what people think, and sometimes what people think is what they end up thinking. Not necessarily thinking, but valuing. Valuing is the word. They value these opinions because if this sort of cake will make your mother happy, then that's the cake you'd rather have than getting whatever cake. You might not even have a strong opinion about what cake you have. And I wonder how much crossover there is with self-esteem and decision making, because decision making can be challenging, I think, for a lot of intuitive types. And but I think there's self-esteem, and then there's also decision making, having all the options. And I think for INFJs it can be really challenging because we have extroverted feeling, which is taking an input from all these people to make our decision, and then introverted thinking, which is wanting to find the most accurate or the best way of doing something. And so the combo of the two can be very meticulous. It can be like, okay, I'll take a survey or a poll, and this is what everyone thinks, but then I'm gonna Google and make sure is this, and like see, for example, let's say like what type of dress I'd like to wear. Okay, so I'd research beforehand what is the best dress for the body type. That's kind of like TI, like Googling and making sure, okay, this is flattering on this body type, this is flattering. So you do your research, you kind of know which one's best for you. And then you go in and then you see your mom's face when you try on this dress, and then you think of your future spouse seeing you in this dress and what he or she might think. And all those things, that's like FE. And so the combo of the two, it's like, what's right? Like you have this like, sometimes a fallacy, but you have this inclination that there's a correct answer. And there's never one correct answer, but your brain tells you there is. And so you do everything in your power to find it. You ask everyone, you search all the Google different combination questions. You really try to find the answer. And an FI user, an introverted feeler, would find it within and be able to access that quite easily, given that they have decent self-esteem. But it's like it might just be the way it makes them feel, or they stuff like that. Another thing is when finding a venue and a time and everything like that, I can see once I envision, once we pick where the venue is or whatever, I envision the overall feel, everything, and piece it together, and then it's that is the best. And I try and find the best way for whatever choice we made. Like this venue, this time, okay, then we should do this. And then let's say we switched the venue or we switched the time. I'm able to find reasons why that is the best also. And that can be very confusing because then it's like, okay, well now which one is actually the best? Because my first inclination was this is the best. And now I'm working with this new possibility. And that can be really difficult because I want to know which one is the best of the best. For example, Franco and I aren't ready to have a house yet, but we drove by this house and it was like right by this nice school, and there was all other things that I started putting together. Well, this would be good because this, and this, and I decided that this was the best house all of a sudden, and it's like we're not even ready to buy a house. So I'll have that again, and I need to trust that I will, but it can be introverted intuition, can be so forcefully future planning oriented that it's like you can be disappointed when you don't follow through with whatever that is. And I like to follow through. My SE wants to see it happen in reality. And so when I envision all the best ways it could be and then do the research and all this stuff, all this time and all this validation of said idea being the best, it can be hard to kind of transition into a new one. And I think that's kind of where extroverted intuition differs. Extroverted intuition thrives off the new possibilities and isn't as stuck to one. Whereas I think both types can explore different options. It's not like one is all too stubborn, but I got my vision. That's a loud fridge. I'm gonna turn off the fridge. Instead of turning off the fridge, I'm running away from it. A big difference I've noticed between SFJs and NFJs is that, when planning, is that NFJs are less detail focused. So SFJs would probably make better planners, but NFJs come up with a big vision and everything will mean something, like, ooh, this would be so cool if we had this sort of theme, and then everything makes sense with the theme, and then they make sense of it all. But then the logistic side, that would be the SFJs. They'd be like, well, how much is that going to cost? Or how many people are you going to have to do that for? Or, for example, my examples aren't very specific. That's one example how I'm not as good with my detail-orientedness. Here's a specific example. My friend, Stephanie, ENFJ, recently got married, and she had a vision to do like a gratitude party sort of thing, where she just showed how grateful she was for everybody around her, and she was thinking of giving party favors as thank you cards, and just doing this whole sort of like happy gratitude fest party. And then her husband now kind of talked her out of that, because it was like, how do we do that? Like, realistically, how is this going to work with all these people? And some thank you cards will be more personal, some won't. Granted, he's an NT, so he's more like, how is this logically gonna work? It's not. Whereas SJs would be, how is this logistically gonna work? Maybe, which are similar, I guess. Yeah, SJs are just more realistic about the plan. So you might come up with this big old vision, and then SJs can bring it back to reality and be like, okay, well, or they might help implement this vision and fill in the details and say like, okay, well, how many plates do we need? And I'll ask all the questions that need to be asked in order to actually execute your big vision plan. But I enjoy the planning parts that are like more meaningful and more fun, and I like picturing it flowing and going a certain way, but then it's like, how do you actually get it to flow that way? You have to like do all the specific plannings. Anyways, also I realized that I came out here because the fridge was loud, but this water's running pretty loud as well. So that was poor planning. Loud fridge, bum 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 bum. Alright, closing notes because my camera died. I do enjoy planning myself. I have checklists upon checklists, and I love looking into the best way to do something and then seeing that through. It is tedious, and I appreciate a thank you when I'm doing the work for somebody, and Franco's very good about that, about recognizing all the work I'm doing and being like, wow. And FE, of course, loves that. It loves that I'm helping people, and so when he appreciates that, that validates me, and then I'm more likely to do it again. Anyways, comment your type and your opinions with planning or decision making. Thanks for watching.